What's going on, everybody? It's Coach Holley, the Scarring Knight, back with another episode of Overcoming Pain and Adversity. At the end of our last episode, I told you guys that we were going to talk about anger and why control, not emotion, is the real strength. You are probably wondering who this episode is for, and I'm going to tell you. This episode is for the student who seems to struggle with focus, or maybe snaps and reacts before they think. It's also for the parent who feels like they are on edge in their home. It's also for the coach, mentor, or teacher losing control of their classroom, and last but most certainly not least, the entrepreneur who's frustrated because nothing seems to be sticking. If you're one of these people, or your fuse feels short lately, this one is for you. Here is the catch. Before you can control anger, we need to first talk about the one thing that decides whether anger rules you or you rule it. That thing is called structure. In episode 2, it wasn't just about pain, it was about what happens when pain hits life with no system. Pain doesn't break people, it exposes how unprepared their structure was. So today is about what shows up next. So remember, anger doesn't come from trauma. It comes from chaos. From the days with no order, from the emotions that have no boundaries, and from the pressure that has no release valve. I say this because when there's no structure, anger doesn't get processed properly. It starts to leak. Focus doesn't fail you because you don't want it enough. It fails because anger, stress, and distractions are running your schedule. Remember that rules aren't restrictive, they are containment. And without containment, emotion becomes dangerous. Most people say that they are distracted, or think they are, when the truth is that they are emotionally unmanaged. As I told you before in the last episode, distraction isn't laziness. It's pinned anger with nowhere to go. I say this because I've worked with kids and adults labeled aggressive, impulsive, and unfocused. And how ironic that when structure showed up and we set something like that in place, their anger dropped. Not because they just magically changed, but because their emotions finally had a reliever valve that was called structural boundaries. Anger isn't your enemy. Uncontained anger is, because it is an emotion without a handle, and it's only wounding you because you are holding it. Here's the truth about anger. As I told you before, if it has no structure, that emotion will rule you. Your phone isn't the problem, neither are people and situations that you go through. The problem is not telling your anger when it's allowed to speak and when it is not. There was a season in my life when I was angry all the time. I was controlled by outside forces, but once I learned to master my mind and control what energy I emit, I was able to gain control over my thoughts, words, emotions, and impulses. That's why I now choose calm over chaos, because chaos always cost me a lot. The things that it cost me was decisions, relationships, and the momentum that I was working to build. But hey, not because my anger was wrong, because it had no systems to govern it. Once I set up structure, anger stopped driving me. That's why under my mentorship, I don't teach people to suppress anger. I teach them to organize it. So the next time that you start stressing and overthinking, I want you to remember that structure decides when your emotion is processed, when it is paused, and when it is transformed into discipline. I need you to really understand that high-level people don't explode. They convert everything into power through channeling this energy called anger into focus, because that's what anger should be converted to. Now, before I talk deeper on the aspect about controlling anger in episode 4, I need you to remember that without structure, you're not strong enough to contain your emotions. So here's my next assignment for you. Starting tomorrow, I want you to choose one daily anchor, meaning an activity that you will start at the same time every day. And I want you to do that with no scrolling, no multitasking, and no emotional distractions. For example, this activity could be meditating. And while you're doing this, I want complete controlled focus for 20 minutes to 1 hour in that specific activity you choose. I say this because this isn't about productivity. It is about teaching your nervous system who is in charge. If you don't build structure, anger or emotions will build habits for you. And those habits will cost you quietly. As I told you before, structure will fix that every time. And I got a quote for you, and it goes like this: emotion without structure becomes destruction. and structure turns emotion into strength. That being said, I appreciate you guys and thank you for watching this episode number 3 of Overcoming Pain and Adversity, the AAMP Way. In the next episode, we'll be finally breaking down anger and why control, not emotion, is real strength. Stay tuned for what's coming up next, because you definitely don't want to miss it. It's Coach Holley, the Scar at Night, and as I always say, you keep watching and I'm going to keep cranking.